Scott, thank you for joining us after a good win against Bristol on Saturday. We've had a full week of training as we prepare to face Rotherham. Can I get your thoughts ahead of that one?
Yeah, been a good week. Really enjoyed training this week. We've got some really good sessions under our belt and prepared the team to get on our journey tomorrow to face a tough team in the shape of Rotherham. Obviously, an experienced manager, loads of respect for him, and Paul Rayner is his assistant as well. So always difficult to play against Steve's teams. Full of energy, real high pressing team, aggressive. Actually play good football as well. So and they kind of mix it up and know when to be direct at times as well. So a real tough game, but one we're really looking forward to.
Yeah, we know you're big, obviously, on your analysis. Is there anything on Saturday's game that you sort of picked up that you were really pleased with after the initial thoughts?
Yeah, most of it is the truth. Most of it, I thought we were really good. I thought we controlled the game. Even after we scored, we had a really good action straight from the kick-off where we made so many passes and cut through them again. And Cam should have scored a second, hit the side netting. But yeah, there was lots to be really pleased about. I think that we probably deserved more goals from the game with the chances that we created. And I thought we looked solid at the back as well, especially late on in the game. It was nice to see that they changed their shape a little bit and pushed their centre half up as a centre forward and went direct against us, and we coped with it. So, really pleased with lots of aspects and facets from the game on Saturday that we can use as a vehicle to move us forward.
Yeah, obviously lots of positives from the game after only one day on the training pitch with yourself. What have you noticed with the group sort of in this full week of training?
What I have noticed is that I'm still really confused about why we are where we are in the table. Me and my assistant, Neil, have kind of been scratching our heads about it, and we don't understand, and we feel as if the group are loads better than the table would suggest. We feel that they have trained really well. We feel that the atmosphere around the place has been really good. The meetings have been positive. I can only say positive things at this stage. I've been really super impressed with the team. Of course, there's a lot of players there that were here when I was here, so I know them anyway. But they've been brilliant. They've trained so well, and we've had one game and they played so well in that game. So I can't put my finger on why they are where they are. But it is what it is. We can't get away from that. We can't change what's gone on. We've just got to try and shape what it looks like moving forward, and that's what we're trying to do. And we know that it's going to be a tough ask to get the amount of points we need to stay in the division. We know that, but it's doable, and all the time it's doable, we'll be going for it.
Yeah, there was a real good feeling around the Broadfield Stadium on Saturday after the game. Is that translated into the dressing room as well? What's the mood been like?
Yeah, definitely. I just think that the whole place just seems really. I really enjoy coming to work. Which I did last time I was here. I think that coming into work is, and when you come into work and you enjoy it, you can only rub off on others, and others rub off on me. So when you see the group being really positive and happy and boisterous and loud and cheerful, and the way we train's good, and everybody's kind of like in a good place. Listen, every footballer wants to play football, and even the boys who are not playing at the moment or not in the squad, they're in a good place for me. They look like they're training well. They look like they want to be part of what we're trying to achieve here. So that sometimes is hard to create when there's certain players not playing or being injured for a while, whatever it may be. It's difficult to keep them upbeat as well, but they've been brilliant, every one of them. So yeah, it's a feel-good factor everywhere. The fans were in class on Saturday. It was quite emotional before the game and fantastic. Really enjoyed that bit at the end with them as well. It certainly spilled into the dressing room. And the boys are, like I say, I can't fault the players. I really can't. I think they've been brilliant.
Yeah, we've had lots of obviously great memories with yourself at the helm on the road. How much are you sort of looking forward to getting out there on the road, representing Crawley again with, that fantastic away support that we're used to?
Yeah, really looking forward to it. We'll set off tomorrow. We're going to train en route, get settled into the hotel, and and we have meetings at the hotel about set pieces and bits and pieces, and then go and attack the game. It's the first time I've been to this stadium actually. Never been to this stadium, so yeah, looking forward to that. And then I think it's always good to test yourself against good teams. I think they're a good team. Watching them, I think they, like I say, they mix their game up quite well, and I think it's always good to put your team in front of them and test ourselves against good teams and good players, and it kind of shows where we're at, and if we can churn a performance out like we did on Saturday, then I think that we'll be okay.
Yeah, and finally, the club have launched a Fight for Survival ticket bundle. So the last 4 home matches of the season, fans can get behind with a bit of a discount. How good would it be to see this place rocking for the last 4 games?
Well, it was on Saturday, wasn't it? I don't know what the gate was Saturday. Was it nearly 5,000?
Yeah, 4 and a bit. Yeah.
Listen, that's brilliant. And I don't know what it's been like here before, but certainly Saturday it was rocking, and you could feel it. I think the players felt it. I think it helped the team definitely on Saturday. I think it definitely helped the team, and like come in your numbers and sing for the badge and for the club, because we're going to need you. We're going to need everybody of Crawley to come out and watch and support and to get behind the boys, because it's impossible to do it. Just the 11 players out there. We need to come together as a club like we did last year at Wembley. Come together now and really get behind the players, and hopefully we get what we need to get.
Perfect.
Yeah. Thanks. Just over a week ago, a trip to Rotherham might have struck fear into a Crawley Town fan, considering what happened before, especially a week before at Huddersfield. Obviously now, in the last week with what's happened, there's excitement and probably hope for this sort of kind of trip. How do you manage that expectation? Is that a good expectation to manage?
I think that I want the players to have that belief anyway. So I think it's important that we never go anywhere with fear. I want them players to go with belief, especially in these last games. I want them to believe in themselves. It's nice that the fans feel a little bit of that as well. They feel a little bit of belief. And you saw the team that played on Saturday. I thought we were outstanding in the game. I think we're a match for anybody, on the basis of what I've seen already. It's great to go with that little bit of belief, and that's what I want. I want the players to believe in themselves. I don't want them to be too far in front of themselves. Of course, we need to rein it in a little bit, but we also need to go with belief, and I think that's important that we have that.
Yeah, and it was just after 24 hours I spoke to you last week after your appointment. I asked you if you thought the squad was stronger than it was when you left. You said yes at that point. Obviously, you've had a bit longer with them now. What is it that you feel is stronger, and what areas do you feel the squad is stronger than it was?
What areas? I don't necessarily think there's areas of the pitch that are any stronger than last year. I just think that the group and the way they've trained has been just as good, if not probably better in some moments. And certainly on Saturday, I mean, we were amazing at playing from the back and played through them. I think we got that control from them deep areas really well on Saturday, and then kind of played through their press really well and got at their back line efficiently really quickly. Maybe Saturday might be different because they'll come with a bit more of a press against us, so we might have to think about maybe playing a little more direct and down the sides of them when the press does come, so we're mindful of that as well. But I don't want to say that this player's better than that player or anything like that, because we obviously had a really good group last year that won promotion. And again, I think that this group's a good group. I do, from the evidence that I've seen so far. I'm really pleased with the group that I'm working with. They're so fit, so fit. They're very similar to the boys last year. Rick's done an amazing job at keeping them fit and really robust. And I'm really impressed with the training sessions that we've done, and they've been really aggressive on the press and run really hard on defending down the pitch, and the distance that he covered. It's really interesting, actually. The distance they covered on Saturday was very similar to what the team covered last year.
Right, okay.
So very similar in terms of the output. And of course, the tactical stuff has been very similar as well, the way we played. So, I'm not going to kind of marry one team up next to the other, but what we'll say is it's very, very close, two really good teams, in my opinion.
Yeah, and talking of training, you're now at Three Bridges. How are you finding those facilities?
Yeah, love it. Yeah, it's a great facility. And they're our neighbours, aren't they? And they've been really helpful, and and it's a great place to train. The 3G pitch is outstanding there. I don't know if you've been down there, but it looks amazing when you drive in, and it is amazing when you get on it. And the people there are lovely, So yeah, I've enjoyed training there. It's been nice to be based here at the ground. We have meetings here in the mornings and then have our food here and then go down and train and have food back here, and that's been brilliant. So yeah, it's worked out really well. And like I say, I've enjoyed every minute of it up to now.
Yeah, and I just want to talk about Kamari Doyle again. I know we talked briefly about him after the game on Saturday. He scored 4 goals and made 3 assists in the last 11 games. And that's the most in the top 4 tiers for a teenager during that time.
Is it really?
Yeah. So I know we touched him on Saturday. But what impresses you most about him, and how important will he be in this running?
Well, he should be really proud of himself for a start. With that kind of record, I think's outstanding. He could have scored more, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
He could have
and
got
you
one.
could see his disappointment afterwards.
Yeah,
couldn't
of course.
You? Yeah.
But listen, look at the position he got himself in, though. He got himself in that position, and sometimes, it's more than acceptable to fluff your lines on the odd occasion, isn't it? So what's impressed me the most is the fact that I've spoke to him about certain aspects of the game, and he's taken it on board really quickly and done it. Sometimes you find yourself saying the same things 4 or 5 times to a player and they still don't do it. You know what I mean? He's done it straight away and done it really well. And then when he done it really well, I think he could have done it better. So I've then tweaked it a little bit, and he's got that as well. So he takes on information brilliantly. And yeah, he's kind of like smooth with the ball. He's left-footed, right-footed. He's both-footed in loads of actions. He's really smooth. He understands the game, and he runs. He can run. He covers good distance. And I've enjoyed working with him so far. I think he's a fantastic kid. Really like him, and yeah, he's got a really bright future in the game for sure.
Yeah, and just quick, any injury updates? Dion, is he still going to be missing?
Dion's not quite there yet, but would probably be in contention for Tuesday night at a push.
Okay, cool, excellent. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Neil, thank you for joining us. Firstly, welcome to Crawley. How's your first few days as a Reds assistant manager been?
Yeah, it's been amazing. The messages I've had of goodwill and good luck and stuff like that has been fantastic. Your head's still a bit spinning. It's happened so quickly, but from Friday, Saturday to where we are now, it's just been amazing.
Yeah, and obviously it was a big decision for you to obviously leave Cray as manager to join us as assistant manager. So as you say, I can imagine your head was a little bit fried, but once you got on the phone to Scott, was it a fairly easy decision?
Absolutely. I know Scott very well, obviously playing with him when we were at Gillingham together, but the opportunities don't come around like that. So it was one that I had to take. Explained it to the owners of Cray, who totally understood, and I thank them for letting me go without any hassle. And then being down here, it's phenomenal. The boys have been absolutely fantastic as well, and in welcoming myself and make me feel at home.
Yeah, and I suppose you've got that sort of less of a risk in the sense of Scott knows a lot about the club. Obviously, he had some great success here before. So was he able to sort of, transfer some of that knowledge to you about what the club was like, and did that make it a bit of an easier decision as well?
Yeah, absolutely. There wasn't a decision. It was already done. I'd already, as soon as he asked me if I would like to come on board, there was no decisions in thinking about it, and he didn't have to sell the club to me. I watched him when he was there. We kept in touch through, WhatsApps and stuff like that, all through his career, and it was a no-brainer. I'd have been, absolutely stupid to have not taken it up. But he's only ever said good things about the club, so it was an easy decision.
Ian, you obviously got your first taste of Crawley fixtures on Saturday. It was a great occasion here, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was brilliant. It was the atmosphere was amazing. The supporters, as soon as the players come out, as soon as Scott come out, they just got it going, and it was an easy ask for the players to go and join that atmosphere. But the boys started like a house on fire, and it was it was a great game, and it was great to be a part of it.
Yeah, we've obviously done countless interviews with Scott, and we know he's very meticulous in certain areas. What is it that he's asked you to do as assistant manager? Has he asked you to focus on some certain areas in particular? No,
not really. He just wants me to be myself. I've been around football all my life, and if ever I see anything, we speak together. I've got to get into his way of thinking. Obviously, it's a new partnership in that respect, but I think you'll find we're both passionate players or ex-players that want to win, and we'll work together to try and get those wins on the board in such a difficult situation that we're coming into. But as long as the boys play with that positivity and enjoy themselves, and the supporters get behind us, I think we've got a fantastic chance.
Yeah, as you say, we do now obviously have a very good chance because it was clear to see the energy around the place at the weekend. And we just said to Scott in his interview, is that translated, do you feel like, into the players as well? Are they coming into training with a lot of belief?
Yeah, oh, definitely. You know, we were just saying, literally, they're coming off, their eyes are wide open, they want to learn, they're like a sponge at the moment, they're taking every instruction on. And on Saturday, you can see, you know, in such a short space of time, they did take on a lot of information, but simple, just little twists on what, you know, Scott's obviously done before when he was here. But, you know, the training for the last 3 days has just been phenomenal. And the standard they've set, you know, we're hoping that they can keep up to that.
Yeah, and you've touched on it a little bit already, but what were your sort of first impressions of the fans and the rest of the club at the weekend? What did you make of it?
As I say, you know, from yourself and the guys, you've all made me feel so welcome. The supporters, you know, they'll get to know who I am over time. It's not about myself. Obviously, Scott coming back and this team. You know, what I've noticed is I can't transmit at the moment why the boys are where they are, because what I've seen in my little time here is a bunch of very, very good players. You know, they look like they're together. They've got some ability. You know they've got that ability. It's now, can we transfer that from the training ground onto the pitch on a Saturday and a Tuesday night? And you know, we've got to squeeze every last little bit out of them to give this, you know, the small chance that we've got. We want to go for it. We want to give it the best chance we've got.
Perfect.
Brilliant. Thanks. You played with Scott in the early 90s, I believe.
Yes.
Can you tell us about what he was like then? And could you always tell he was going to go into coaching and managing?
I think I spoke about it the other day. You know, Scott was a very committed, you know, player.
Yeah.
Like we all were in those days in the 90s. You had to be, you know. I'll never forget the quote, get your retaliation in first. But it was one of them that you learnt early. But yeah, he was fully committed as a player and worked his, you know, socks off to try and get to where he wanted to get to. Did I see him being a coach? We go our separate ways. I've been on the coaching course with him. We did our 80 licence together. And what I saw from such an aggressive player, you know, winning tackles and being in your face, and to playing the way he's playing, which is beautiful football and it's beautiful to watch. No, probably not. But what you have got is that he doesn't want to just play that way for the sake of playing that way. He wants to play that way to go and win the game. It's not about looking pretty. It's about doing it for a reason, and the reason is we want to win. But if we can do it that way, so it's brilliant. To, you know, I'm watching him coaching, and it's phenomenal how precise he is with everything he does. You know, nothing's taken by chance. You know, we're gonna work on everything we've got, give all the players the instructions they need, but simplify them, make them nice and simple. But this is, as a group, this is how we're going to do it, and I've got to buy into that as well because it is new to me. But you know, I'm learning with him on the job because, like I say, with the amount of games we've got to make sure that we win as many as we can.
So I know you said yes straight away, but what was it that Scott said to you? Did he just ask you and you said yes? Was it as simple as that?
Yeah, we'd spoken the first time. Scotty went into the management side, Swindon and stuff, and at the time my lifestyle couldn't make that decision. But 3 years down the line, you know, as I say, things happened, and you know, I was able to make that decision. And it, as I say, it wasn't a decision. As soon as he asked me, it was like yes. You know, there was no thought process into it. You know, it's a fantastic opportunity for myself. It's a fantastic opportunity for Scott to come back to a place where they love him, and obviously finish a job that he started.
Yeah, and obviously at Cray, I think you got them the highest they've ever finished in thing. Was it quite a tough decision to leave them? I know it's an easy decision to work with Scott, but was it a tough decision?
It's a tough decision because I was there with a very good friend of mine, Tim O'Shea, who, you know, for 3 years, we went in there pretty much like we did. We had 6 games to keep them up, and we managed to keep them up on the last game of the season. Following season, we got in the playoffs, just missed out, you know, and the next 2 seasons were a bit difficult for certain reasons. But yeah, the decision wasn't so much about leaving Cray. I think I'd done everything I could for Cray, and hopefully I've left them in a better position than when I walked through the door. But leaving the coaching staff that I'd brought in was the difficult decision. You know, it's not one of them where as a manager you can bring them with you. I had to bring myself, and that was it. But I think I've left them in a good position, a safe position, and the management team that are there, I think they should just hand it over to them anyway. Yeah.
And where do your ambitions lie? Do you want to manage at this level like Scott's doing?
I just want to learn. You know, if I can learn from Scott, it's an amazing situation to be in. I'm not looking any further than, you know, the end of this season, as in, you know, let's try and keep this club up. You know, what, as I say, you know, when I speak to Scott and, you know, the good times he had here and how he did it, it was an impossible task then. and this one's just as impossible. And I think it's one of them where if we were to manage to do it or take it as far as we can, if that's it, then I think it's just as a bigger an achievement to stay in this division with the situation we've walked into.
Absolutely, and you said it, and Scott said it as well, how you're confused that they are where they are in the league. Were you surprised, knowing where they were in the league, how much quality there is in the squad?
Friday morning when we trained, and I'm watching them, I couldn't believe they are where they are. So then you go, oh, is it just a training session? And then Saturday, that first half was some of the best football I had seen for a few seasons. The atmosphere was amazing. The supporters were jumping, and you could feel there was. I don't know what's happened in the past. I don't know what's gone on beforehand. But then I'm looking at that first Friday, that first half on Saturday, the supporters how they are, and how Crawley where they are. Coming Monday, are we looking for that little chink in the armour? No. Tuesday on it, today on it, and we just hope we can just keep it going. They've set a standard now. We all have, as a management team, as a bunch of players, as a staff and a club. The standard's been set. We now need to keep it there for the rest of the season.
Brilliant, thanks, Neil.